All right, so are you ready to dive into something really personal?
Ooh, I love personal stuff.
This is going to be fun. We're looking at your numerology for 2025.
All right.
You sent in your birthday. We crunched the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and let's see what they reveal. We're going to explore your lucky numbers,
Okay.
how your personality might shape the year,
Mm-hmm.
and even some potential bumps in the road.
We all have them,
Yes, we do.
and we can learn to navigate those.
So to help us make sense of all this, we have our numerology expert.
It's great to be here.
So to kick things off, let's talk about your root number. It's kind of like your numerological signature, right?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It all comes from your birth date,
Okay.
and in your case, it's 2.
Okay. A root number 2. What can you tell us about our listener based on that? I've always heard 2 is a pretty special number in numerology.
It is. The number 2 is strongly connected to the moon,
Okay.
which suggests a couple of key things.
All right.
Firstly, there's a natural artistic inclination with root number 2s. They tend to have a very strong sense of creativity
Mm-hmm.
and are often drawn to expressing themselves through various art forms.
That's really interesting. So this could be a year where our listeners' creativity really blossoms.
It certainly has that potential.
I like that.
Ah,
So besides creativity, what else does the moon's influence tell us about our listeners' personality?
well, the other big thing with the moon is emotional sensitivity. People with a root number of 2 tend to experience emotions very deeply
Okay.
and can be quite affected by the world around them.
Oh, so they might be the friend who cries during those super sappy commercials,
Hmm.
but also the one who's always there with a shoulder to cry on when you need it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
While they may be easily moved to both joy and sorrow,
Mhm.
this sensitivity also makes them incredibly empathetic and compassionate individuals.
Okay, so we're seeing a picture of someone who's in touch with their feelings, deeply caring, and has a strong creative side.
Yes,
That's a pretty cool combination.
it is a lovely combination.
But let's get specific about 2025. How do we even begin to look at a whole year through the lens of numerology?
Well, we can calculate a kind of numerological forecast based on your birthday and the year ahead.
Okay.
And when we do that for you, we see a few key numbers emerging: 2, 9, 1, 2, and 5.
Okay.
Each of these holds certain energies and influences.
Wow, so it's like your own personal numerical code for the year.
It is like that, yes.
And I'm guessing some of these numbers are luckier than others.
That's right. For instance, with a root number of 2,
Uh-huh.
having 2 additional 2s appear in your forecast is quite fortunate.
Okay.
It amplifies those inherent strengths we discussed earlier.
So double the creativity, double the compassion. I like where this is going. But what about those other numbers? Especially that 9. You mentioned earlier that there might be some bumps in the road.
Yeah, the 9 does stand out as potentially challenging.
Okay.
Its energy can sometimes manifest as conflict and anger,
Mhm.
things that root number 2s typically try to avoid.
So maybe 2025 is the year our listener learns to set some healthy boundaries.
Well,
A little assertiveness training, perhaps.
that could be very beneficial. Being aware of this potential for conflict can help you navigate situations more mindfully.
Okay, now I'm really curious. Where in our listener's life might these number 9 challenges pop up?
Well, number 9's influence suggests that relationships with brothers and neighbors
Okay.
might require some extra attention.
All right.
It also indicates that matters related to land, buildings, and vehicles
Oh.
could be areas where you need to proceed with caution.
I see what you mean about bumps in the road.
Yeah.
But knowing about these potential challenges is half the battle, right?
Absolutely. Now that we've identified these areas,
Okay.
let's move on to the more positive aspects
Yeah.
of your 2025 forecast.
Okay.
Because despite these potential hiccups, it's shaping up to be a very positive year.
Okay. I'm all ears. Let's hear about those successes.
So despite those potential challenges, the overall picture for 2025 is quite bright.
Okay.
Remember those lucky numbers we talked about?
Uh-huh.
They suggest some really exciting possibilities in a few key areas.
Yeah, we left off talking about all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Partnerships, creativity, even government and administration, right?
Yeah.
What exactly do those numbers tell us about those areas?
Well, first off, you have 2 number 2s in your forecast in addition to your root number 2.
Okay.
And as we discussed, the T2 is all about cooperation and harmony.
Mm-hmm.
It suggests that partnerships of all sorts are likely to be successful for you this year.
So is that strictly romantic partnerships? Or could this be a great year for our listener to start a business with a friend, collaborate on a creative project, or even just deepen existing relationships?
It could be all of the above. The beauty of numerology is that it speaks to broader energies. It's up to you to decide how those energies manifest in your life.
I like that. It's like having a cosmic nudge in the right direction,
It is.
but you still get to choose your own path.
Exactly.
So partnerships are looking good. But what about that creative spark we talked about? Any insights there?
Absolutely. Having that double dose of two energy is also fantastic for your creative endeavors.
Oh, yeah.
It suggests a year where inspiration flows freely and you're able to express yourself in truly unique and fulfilling ways.
Okay, this is making me excited for our listener.
Yeah.
They're going to be a creative powerhouse in 2025. Maybe they'll write that novel they've always dreamed of or finally take that pottery class.
It's definitely a year to embrace your creative impulses
Okay,
and see where they lead you.
got it. Explore, create, have fun. Now, what about that last area, government and administration? That one sounded a little less exciting, to be honest.
I know it doesn't have quite the same ring to it, does it?
No, not really.
But it's actually quite significant. The number 1,
Okay.
which also features in your 2025 forecast,
Uh-huh.
is associated with leadership, initiative, and new beginnings.
Okay.
It suggests that any dealings you have with government agencies or legal matters will likely work out in your favor.
So if our listener's been putting off dealing with some bureaucratic nightmare, 2025 might be the year to tackle it?
Exactly. The energy is aligned for you to make progress in those areas.
Okay, so we've got partnerships, creativity, and even bureaucratic victories. That's a pretty awesome trifecta for 2025.
Yes, it is.
But I'm also thinking back to those potential challenges we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
Is there anything our listener can do proactively to navigate those tricky spots?
Yeah.
Especially that number 9 energy.
That's a great question. And the answer is yes.
Okay, good.
In numerology, we talk about remedies,
Okay.
which are essentially practices designed to harmonize energies
Mm-hmm.
and help us navigate challenging periods more smoothly.
Remedies. That sounds intriguing. Is this like a numerological first aid kit?
You could think of it that way.
Okay, I like it.
These remedies draw on ancient wisdom and can take various forms.
So what kind of remedies would you suggest for our listener given their 2025 forecast?
Well, given the emphasis on the number 2,
Uh-huh.
which is so connected to the feminine principle,
Right.
seeking the blessings of maternal figures in your life
Right.
can be very beneficial.
Okay, so spending time with mom, grandma, or even a mentor
Mm-hmm.
who embodies that nurturing energy. I like that it's simple but powerful.
Exactly. It's about tapping into those supportive energies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another powerful remedy, particularly for mitigating the potential conflict associated with the number 9,
Okay.
is the recitation of the Ganpati Atharvashirsa.
The Ganpati what now?
It's an ancient Sanskrit hymn dedicated to Lord Ganesha, a deity often invoked for removing obstacles
Mhm.
and ensuring success.
Okay, Sanskrit hymns might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I can definitely see the appeal of calling on some ancient wisdom to help smooth out those bumps in the road.
Sure.
Are there any other remedies that might be helpful?
Yes. Another one that could be particularly beneficial, especially every other month,
Okay,
is performing Rudrishek rituals.
hold on. Rudrabhishek rituals, you're going to have to break that down for me.
Sure.
What exactly does that involve? And why every other month?
Rudrabhishek is a traditional offering made to Lord Shiva,
Okay.
another important deity in the Hindu pantheon.
It's a powerful way to invoke his blessings for protection, well-being, and overcoming obstacles. And doing it every other month helps maintain a consistent flow of positive energy throughout the year.
Okay, that makes sense. While these specific rituals might not resonate with everyone, I think the underlying idea is really cool.
Right.
That we can use these ancient practices to connect with something bigger than ourselves and invite positive energy into our lives.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, whether you choose to incorporate these specific remedies or find other practices that resonate with you, the key is to approach your 2025 journey with awareness, intention, and an open mind.
Okay, that's some great advice. So we've talked about a lot of different aspects of our listeners' numerological forecast for 2025, their strengths, potential challenges, and even some tools for maximizing their chances of success.
Yes.
Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear your overall takeaway. What's the biggest thing our listeners should keep in mind as they head into the new year? Well, when I look at your numerological forecast as a whole, I see a year full of potential for growth and fulfillment. It's a year where your natural gifts, particularly your empathy and creativity, can truly flourish.
Okay, so those moon influence strengths we talked about really take center stage in 2025.
Exactly.
Yeah.
However, it's also a year that invites you to step outside your comfort zone,
Okay.
especially when it comes to asserting your needs and navigating potential conflicts.
So embrace the good, but be prepared for the not so good.
Precisely. Remember, the number nine's energy isn't inherently negative.
Right.
It's simply a reminder that growth often comes with challenges.
I like that perspective challenges as opportunities for growth. Now, before we let our listener go, I want to touch on those remedies one more time.
Sure.
If someone is totally new to this, where can they even start?
That's a great question. There are lots of resources available online and in libraries,
Hmm.
but sometimes the best approach is simply to start with what feels most accessible. If connecting with a nurturing female figure resonates with you, you reach out to someone who embodies that energy for you. If you're drawn to the idea of reciting mantras or exploring ancient rituals, do some research and see what resonates.
So it's really about finding what feels authentic and meaningful for you, not necessarily following a rigid set of rules.
Exactly. Numerology is a tool for self-discovery, not a rule book.
Right.
It's about using these insights to understand yourself better and make choices that align with your highest potential.
Well said. I think that's a perfect note to end on. As you head into 2025, remember you have all the tools you need to create a truly remarkable year. Embrace your strength, navigate challenges with awareness, and most importantly, trust your intuition.
And don't be afraid to explore those ancient practices.
Yeah.
You never know what wisdom you might uncover.
Great advice. So to our listeners, as you embark on this exciting new year, we want to leave you with one final thought. What intentions will you set? What steps will you take to make 2025 a year of growth, fulfillment, and maybe even a little numerological magic? Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.